Now.
Heck yeah, if you love someone, please set them free, right? Because that's really all what it's about. That's Sting right there for us, giving us some great advice. Doing a little Agnes Vivarelli and Dan RadioStyle unite to fight forces of crime and negative energies and all those things out there. Today we're going to talk about the mad mystic of 48th Street production.
Yes.
Sounds pretty good. I should do the voice stuff for him, but really, what the hell is that, Agnes? What are we talking about today?
Well, there's a guy called Ronnie Osbornes, and he's done a series of a dozen very short YouTubes, 2 to 5 minutes long maximum. And he goes through the questions that were asked in Neville's lectures when he was obviously alive. And they it's a Q&A.
Yeah.
So we're going to post that down below when you and I upload this to our channels. We'll put the playlist so people can watch those 12 YouTubes in more detail, but we're going to talk about the concepts in there today.
Yeah, or at least a couple of them that we were into. Who knows? We'll see where they get us. But and I do agree that it's one thing that's really cool about that link and about this. It's a channel, not channel. What is it when you compile videos? I'm forgetting the name of it. Playlist. Thank you. It's a playlist of these little shorts, and they're awesome. They're like 3 minutes long. You have to read them, and they've got kind of music in the background. But it's really well done. And like you were saying, and I think this is what you were exceptionally good at, by the way. It's like your superpower. Is taking Neville Goddard and taking one of his, few-page chapters or stories and condensing it down into this bite-sized morsel that is delicious, yet not overly cumbersome to chew on.
Great with sweet chili sauce.
Absolute sweet chili sauce especially. So on a total side salad, I've been making popcorn shrimp lately, just kind of playing around with it.
What is that?
So you take shrimp and you batter it in flour, and then you dip it again in egg, and then you go into panko, or I'm sorry, coconut. I'm sorry, in panko. That's the mixture. I'm sorry, and so it becomes coconut fried shrimp. And my gosh, it's heavenly for sure.
Wow.
And, so the sweet chili sauce is just a great dipping sauce.
That would go perfect with that.
Side salad, but delicious nonetheless. I hope I made someone in our audience hungry because I just did to myself.
Yum! That sounds yummy.
So of the stories, I guess, did you have one that you wanted to kind of start with? I was curious. I had a couple of them that, I wanted to call out real quick too. We got a fellow friend amongst us that I just wanted to say hi to, Alicia. Awesome. Thank you for talking to Agnes and I. That's really good stuff. But yeah, so I had a couple of them that I had picked out and that I thought were kind of interesting. You want me to start with one? Okay.
You do yours, and then I'll do mine after.
Such a gentle woman. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So there's one that talked about acceptance of the end, and I liked it because it kind of had that acceptance concept in there, and I've talked some about that, not quite as perfectly shortened. I mean, I do long-winded videos, but the end, kind of accepting the fact that this is what is so. So many of us, it seems, kind of waver, I think, in that belief concept, and I don't want to go off necessarily on a tangent. Curious what you think about it yourself, but when we truly accept that what we're imagining and what we're creating is so, and you don't actually doubt that, and that was one of Goddard's major things.
Yep.
Once you've done that, it changes the game completely, and then a lot of this letting go, it's not even letting go per se, it's I know it's coming. I'm not even necessarily letting go, I'm just not asking anymore because I know it's coming.
Yep.
If I want to have a friend, when they come over tomorrow, I'm like, hey, dude, do me a favor and stop by that really awesome Italian place on your way over and bring me some of those, I don't know, whatever the heck's. And I want to try them. They're so super good. And he's like, oh, totally, I'll do that. I don't call him up an hour later and go, hey, dude, when you leave tomorrow, no, it's asked for. I got this.
Exactly.
So I think, where do you feel on that whole kind of concept? I mean, again, he does it in 3 minutes. Dan just blew 3 minutes talking about pasta. So what do you got going on?
Yeah, I think that's the thing, that it's the inactive things with Neville, with the law of attraction, that are the most challenging for people. People are action figures. So they want to do something. Give me something to do and I'll do it. Whereas acceptance is an inactivity. So he talks about this acceptance, and I think that's the thing. We're often in a lack of acceptance. We're often in, when's it going to happen? How's it going to happen? You know, and all the details of that, which preoccupies our brain.
Well, there's a concept of that I've been spending a lot of time talking about recently too. And it's, I think, a lot of times, not everyone. So please, for all of you watching right now, it's not everyone, but some out there, and maybe this fits you. The reason we keep doing the work is because we don't think it's happening, or we don't think it's happening fast enough, or we think we're doing it wrong. Right.
Exactly.
And that is kind of, in my mind too, is a big part of this acceptance. It does take a little time. I'm not sure how long, that, you know, that really depends on a lot of factors. But when you realize it's done, and it's, you know, it's maybe a day, maybe a week, maybe a month, but it's done. It's already done. I don't need to question it, and it will show up when it shows up, and at the exact right time is what I have found in life myself too. The timing of things is beautiful often.
Yeah.
So. And
it's usually way longer than what you would like. It's very rare that you go, wow, that happened so fast. I wasn't even waiting for that.
Yes, especially those are the funny ones. You're like, wow, I mean, that was, wow, okay, why don't you do other things that fast, right? Like, whatever, universe.
Yeah. Well, because I wrote stuff down about this one too. This was in the second one of the series of 12. And he was saying acceptance of the end wills the means. So it's when you accept that it is done, that it brings in the means of which it happens.
So it's not just the fact that you realize that the asking was successful, I guess. You're actually saying that that's a required part. The whole, I guess, letting go, it's also been named.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's actually, that's an actually powerful...
Yes.
Yeah, you know what, though? Yeah, when I think about it out loud right now on the video, which is really great when that happens, you're right, because it does. It solidifies your actual belief and total understanding of... And it does, I think, cinch in the conscious mind, right? That part of us that will frequently question. Maybe it's the ego. I don't know. Yep. It's hard to say what exact part of us is annoying during the day. I think it's that ego-y part. But yeah, exactly. And you're right. When you accept. Now, does Goddard have any sort of... does he get into that in a larger sense in any way? Or is it just kind of that simple, just cut and dry?
Well, he goes on to say... No, it is already done, already a fact. Walk as though it were, and things will happen to make it so. And although time beats slowly in this dimension, it will bring you confirmation of your assumption. So it's walking around with the doubt removed. That's what living in the assumption is.
And the other part of it, and you just reminded me with the words that I've forgotten already. That the time part of it is, you know, that we still have...
Time beats slowly in this dimension. Yeah, time. Well, according to us. Right. According to us. Because we're often in between desire and manifestation. So that's when time seems to beat slowly, according to us. We're really
relative. Well, now you get into Einstein, but it is everything's, especially with time, it's always relative to another thing. Really, I mean, that's otherwise it's time's irrelevant. How many times have you been sitting there for 5 minutes and it went by like that, or how many times you sat there for 5 minutes and you're like, Jesus, am I going to die of old age or what the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Standing in the checkout line, and the lady pulls out, you know, pennies. And he's like, "Oh, help me, Lord!"
Do they still have pennies over there?
They do. They haven't gotten rid of them yet. It costs more to make them than what they're worth. Yeah. So yeah, it's fantastic. We're really just.
I've still got pennies here in London, but when I go back to Sydney, they've removed all the copper. The ones, the twos are gone. They've been gone.
Well, they're not made of copper here anymore. They're made of some cheaper version of metal.
Okay.
But they're still stupid. You get them and you're just angry. You're like, why? Really? Like you weren't willing to give me that? You like just. Anyway, that's, again, Side Salad. Hi, it's Dan RadioStyle. Thanks for joining me. So, yeah, it's funny. You read them kind of you watched them in the same order I did. So I'll let you pick the next one because it could very well be the one I've got selected.
No, you do it first.
And then you'll fall because you've actually done more homework. Good for you.
do it first because you said you
You're
only
going to be the one on the relay that takes the baton the final distance.
and
like
drops it.
I'm done. I'm spent. All right. So do we have to earn it? There was one that talked about, and I liked this because there was kind of this misnomer, I think, in a lot of people's minds that you can't get anything for nothing, right? Nothing's free. There's no free lunch. You know, tell that to someone who's had a free lunch. I mean, you know, there are sometimes other costs, but I've literally just had people pay for my lunch, and I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to, you know, so.
So there is a free lunch.
There's such you can actually manifest. So it gets into it, and you might have the the words written out, but it gets into the aspect that a lot of us have these beliefs, and the beliefs. If you have a belief where I have to earn this, I have to go through some sort of pain to acquire this thing before me, then you will manifest a level of pain before you manifest that certain thing. But if you believe that you can just have this thing and that universe source, and I think they use God even specifically because it's Goddard and it matches with his name. But if you kind of ask for it, God's happy to give it to you. That's what it's all about. Yes, here you go. Thank you for asking. That's all I wanted you to do. It's a world of Thanksgiving. We're Thanksgiving once a year here in the United States and I think other parts of the world because we're thankful for all the things that we are given. And it's a good reminder. So knowing that we don't have to earn it, and you can believe the opposite if you'd like, but what we believe, and I think that's really the key point, at least to me on this, is what we believe is really what shapes our experience. I mean, I've kind of frequently talked about it on my shows. What you think, what you say, what you do is what you manifest, but your belief is kind of like on the end of a pastry thing, like the star-shaped end, like, you know, and you spit out a little star cookie. That's the belief. Like the belief is what makes it star-shaped, right? Like, your cookie doesn't have to be star-shaped. It could be a big fat round blob. I mean, what do you want? I mean, it could be a square.
Very visually, you know.
The sound effect too. What I think so. That's really where I really took it home at that point.
I like the star shape as your belief. Your belief is star-shaped. No, creation is finished. There is nothing to earn. No need to sweat your brow. So it's that. And I do think that earning, that whole thing of earning comes from our parents' generation and the grandparents. You have to work hard. You have to earn. You've got to, you know, all that.
And in the States specifically, the Great Depression.
Yes.
Huge for us. I mean, that's a lot of great-grandparents were alive then, and so it was beat down. So anyway, I didn't want to interrupt it.
But there's this, see, we talk about conscious creation within Neville's work and within the law of attraction, but really what it is you've got lots of different creations that exist simultaneously, and you are really selecting. You're not consciously creating anything. The book thing, the book on the books on the bookshelf.
I love this
exactly
analogy.
Right. You remember that one?
Yeah, I love this. This is actually one of our first shows. I think we talked.
Yeah.
About this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember talking about that with you. But it was you select a book, you read it. That's your selection. Doesn't mean all the other books cease to exist. They're just laying there. They recede into the background. They're dormant. But you can go and pick those books anytime. So if you go into picking the book that you want to that you read is I'm Poor, and you're doing that really well. If you don't want to read that book anymore and you don't want to be poor, you put that back on the bookshelf and you select maybe the I'm Wealthy one, and you start to think, feel, and believe, because it has to come from your belief systems first. It also has to come through your focus, because it's a focus-based universe.
Yeah, you're right.
That 100%. Out through focus.
100%.
So yes, you've got to learn what the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs of a person that has that state of being, because Neville talks a lot about states. The state of wealth has very different thoughts than the state of poverty.
Now, when you say state, is that whole, and it's not, I know a lot of us call it living from the end, if you will, but it's more that, like, I actually am feeling like I have a bunch of money right now. Like
yes, that's
when
what
it's
a
like,
state is.
Yeah, and it's either maybe I do have some money in savings, so because of that, I actually feel wealthier, or it's a way of trying to get to that level of feeling before you have that which you seek. And so that state of, what do you call it? State of being? Yes.
State of being.
And that is a powerful manifesting tool, and it requires a great deal of imaginal work, really, I think, internally to get to that.
And yes, you got to imagine and focus on that state but you also have to deactivate and stop the old state simultaneously. Yeah. So you got to pull your focus off that.
Right. Right.
So,
Which is
and if you've practiced being poor for a really long time, that state's going to be extremely natural to you, even though it's incredibly uncomfortable. It's still natural for you. You understand how to think about it, how to feel about it, because you've practiced that over and over and over. So then saying to yourself, I've got to think in a wealthy state, you're going to go, well, how the heck do I do that? I've never thought those thoughts. I've never felt that state before. So you got to work out ways to feel that. And this applies to being single, to wanting to be in a relationship, having horrible work, and you want to have meaningful, wonderful workplace. It doesn't matter what the subject is. It makes no difference.
And I agree. One thing that's really powerful too, just to mention it, is when we start to remember these things in the past, like you said, being poor for long periods of time, maybe, for example, like you grew up that way, and it's an issue of getting out of that mindset, or even constantly reminding yourself, well, I was brought up poor. I was brought up in a poor household. I was brought up on the other side of the track. It's also, we do that too with many things, with relationships, with our childhood, with our mothers. I mean, I'm not bringing it up again, but I used to do it a lot, right? Like, it's that whole reassociating or reactivating or keeping that affiliation with this past negative thing that really does keep it active within us. And it's when we finally let go of telling everybody, well, my dad cheated on my mom. Like, you don't need to tell anybody that, but yet you still identify with it everywhere you go. Yeah. And that's where I think a lot of people don't realize, oh my God, you're right, I do that. And that's keeping it active. Like, they just don't see it. And a lot of us just don't pay enough attention to the stuff that goes through our brains, or we always assume we're right. A lot of us do that. I've had my moments where it's like, no, and then you're like, oh, crap, you're right. Damn it. So, I think it's good to remember
Dan Neville talks about that a lot. You know, people say the past is dead. Well, Neville had that whole thing about the past is still alive. Not the actual experience, but the tentacles emotionally from what happened in the past, and you're still activating it today. Like when you say things like, all men are bastards, or
they're not.
Relationships are hard. that comes from past experience that you heard from your parents or your mom or whoever, and then you've got this little tentacle that sticks to you.
And many of us have friends that are kind enough to remind us of these things as well too. I mean, again, it's just these things come all over the place, and a lot of people, and that's what's tough about talking to others. We've mentioned this, and this is always a good, really positive side salad. But one thing that also comes when you talk about your manifestations, even with people that are supportive and even with people that are powerful in the law of attraction, they may have beliefs of their own still, you will find. Like a lot of people we've probably met are, I can manifest money, or I can manifest a job, but I can't seem to do this, right? And it's like, so again, a lot of us have our own little makeups and hookups and filters. And so again, we just need to be really, it's where we're at with the belief cycle. It's not necessarily what everyone else is saying. It's, what do you actually believe?
What do you believe?
And then if you talk to people that are going to counter that, it's probably not the best idea.
Waste of energy.
Talk about something else. Maybe the weather. The weather's beautiful.
Exactly.
So I didn't get any more than that per se, but if I had to, I could probably yank one out of an orifice if necessary. But Agnes Vivarelli, do you happen to have any?
That might be the most watched YouTube.
Right? And it was like exactly at 22 minutes when Dan, it's like, whoa, what do you do? Suddenly I'm like in a database someplace as well, probably.
But you remember that I'm extremely visual, so whenever you do that. I wouldn't
want to do that to you. I'm so sorry.
Okay, going back to the Mystic, 48th Street.
Where the salad in front of us, not the side one.
Not the side salad, the main dish. We're going on to the main dish.
Delicious.
Okay, number one, the first little YouTube that I watched, he talked about knowing what you want, claim that you already have it. Now, people can say, claim it. How do I do that? Well, you do that mentally, and you can just give thanks in advance. Thank you, universe, God, whoever you want to talk to, for. And that shows trust, belief, and those are the things that create and pull things in. You can't be wishy-washy and expect to get something.
No, and it brings to it also that that concept and mindset of these things are there for us to manifest. Like again, it kind of goes back to that. Have to earn it. No, that's there for you. It's all you got to do is claim it. It's just claim your reward. Here's your reward ticket just hanging in front of you. Just grab it, blink, and then write your initials on it. Like you can even do that mentally. It's kind of funny if you think about it. Like you see your specific person, for example, and you just pull the tag off the front of them. Hopefully it doesn't hurt. Oh well. And then just sign your initials to it. That's yours. You've claimed it. This is yours. You've
claimed it.
Or this new job, or this new car, or this new boat, this new planet that you're going to own. I don't know, whatever the hell you're trying to. Some people have large aspirations, I think.
Like building hotels on the moon, things like that.
Well, who doesn't want to do that? I mean, I'm in line with that. It would be fun to go like in orbit. I'd do that maybe, but I don't know if I were. I don't want to live on the moon just yet.
No, not yet.
No, maybe. Couple weeks. Who knows? It's been a tough week at work. Okay, so that's a great one. Claiming it. So
claiming it.
What else does Goddard get into that? I mean, is that just kind of? I mean, other than
that was just the little nugget from that one.
The acceptance of it.
Firstly, knowing what you want. First thing, clarity. You got to be clear. Second thing, you claim it, and you literally, like the book off the bookshelf, you go and get it. Bang, and you not go and get it as in you physically go and rip some money out of somebody's hand. It's you claim it as in your mental state, your emotional state. You say, yes, thank you. And you just connect with the fact that you deserve that. You're worthy of that. Because it's like so often we reject things through, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, I'm not good enough. And that apparently.
And you and I love to lump that into the whole self-love thing. And that's what it is. I mean,
that's what it is.
100% of what we're talking about. But it's like people, I think, hate hearing that time and time again. But it's like, hey, guess what?
You're going to hear it again.
Yeah, because you keep saying stuff in your comment, or your email. It's like you have some problem. Like you don't believe that, right? So that's a huge thing.
Yeah, it fixes everything.
Sure does. Everything. That's for sure.